Hey everybody, welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. This is your guy, Coach B. I'm here with the A-Team. How we doing today, Freddie?
You already know.
Freddie's got some audio problems, y'all. But we're going to work through it. He's good to go. JR, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. That's what happens when you take your laptop to Cabo, you know.
Things like that happen. That's true, JR. Basically saying that some of Freddie's audio issues have to do with some activity that took place in Cabo. Don't know. You know, we put that under the category TMI. Don't know, don't want to know. Today, the Brooklyn Nets fired Steve Nash, right, as a head coach. I want to start off by getting your overall thoughts on Steve Nash.
I didn't think he deserved to get the job in the first place, but I think, you know, with the whole when them firing him, one of the biggest things that comes to my mind is I think Kyrie and KD said something, or one of them said something in the beginning when he was first hired. We don't something, and I'm paraphrasing. We don't really need a coach. We just kind of go out and do our thing. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying that, but something along those lines, to where it was also kind of like, to me, that was like not a disrespect thing, but kind of like, we really don't need you.
That's spot on. It was Kyrie actually who basically said, you know, yeah, he's our head coach. We coach by committee. We're gonna run everything by everybody else, you know, et cetera, which, to your point, I think is a great first indicator that there are going to be challenges. JR, where do you stand? Where do you land on, you know, just Steve as a head coach?
I agree with Freddie. You know, like we spoke about this before off air. You know, there's plenty of assistant coaches that have been around for years, and the guy they just made interim coach is a prime example. You know, you had McAdoo laying around. You know, you've got so many players, and they give this guy a job, and he has no experience at coaching.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's tough for any first-year coach, regardless, but a first-year coach who was a former player, and one of the guys that comes to mind for me, guys, is Jason Kidd. So I think Jason's a much better coach now, but when he was coaching Milwaukee, you know, he struggled. When I look at guys like Ty Lue, who spent a ton of time on Doc Rivers' bench, you know, you get that. And I'll even throw in what's my man's name that's coaching at Michigan now, one of the Fab Five. Juwan Howard.
Juwan Howard, yeah.
Correct. Who was on Miami's staff, even though he's coaching at the NCAA level. What I'm saying is I think that and Mark Jackson, I didn't think should have got fired, but guys who come out and coach for the first time without being on somebody's staff, I think are at a disadvantage, JR. And secondly, the fit, and Freddie talked about this a couple of weeks ago, man, the fit has to be right. And Steve Nash's personality, my opinion, was always wrong for where he was going. He's not that Phil Jackson kind of guy. And I think that's what you need to manage those nutcase ego heads that you have in Brooklyn. I never thought, like Freddie said, I didn't think, when I said that Steve shouldn't have got the job, it wasn't that I thought he was a bad person. I think he's got a high IQ, et cetera, but that is not the place, in my opinion, for him to go.
I just think that they just need someone that they're going to have to be able to respect, and whoever this guy whoever it may be, he's gonna have to come and look. I'm the head guy. It's gonna be my way. This is how we're gonna do things.
I think that's a great point, Freddie. And I also think that any organization that hires somebody, you got to put the head coach in a position where they can succeed. Mm-hmm. And if you stack up these things, like Freddie was talking about, JR, Kyrie's first comments when Steve came on board, Kevin, you know, demanding that Steve get fired over the summer.
The GM as well.
And then, right, and GM as well. And then the most latest thing with all the anti-Semitism that Kyrie's, you know, being out there, all of it's tough enough to be successful at a coach in any sport at any level, no matter what it is. You coming in with that stacked against you while at the same time, JR, you playing in Brooklyn. I don't think he could have succeeded regardless.
Kyrie is a selfish individual, not only because of the vaccination, but because of the comments he makes. You know, what you do affects your team in the realm of you playing.
I'm just of the mindset, if that's what you were going to do, don't even start the season with Steve.
Yes.
If you're not going to give a guy at least to the All-Star break, 7 games in is nothing. You know, I'm thinking that the reason they did it now is they didn't want it to seem like we're doing it because Kevin demanded it. But at the end of the day, that has to have some bearing on it. I just don't know how much that weighs on it. So the last part of the conversation, and I'll start with you, JR, is it appears that they're going after Udoka. And if you go back and take a look at it, Udoka has some experience. He was on Nash's staff, right, before he took the job with Boston. In your opinion, is Udoka a good fit to be the head coach for Brooklyn?
I think he is. He's been an assistant coach for a long time. I really don't think that Boston wanted to keep him anyway.
That's a good point, Freddie. What are your thoughts on Udoka? If he's the guy that's selected, is he a good choice for them? Your opinion?
I think he would be, because he just coached the team to the NBA Finals just last year, a few months ago.
I think too, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but just the other day they came up after their last loss. They showed a shot of Steve coming out the tunnel, and he took his watch off and threw it. He was really heated, and it looked like it was more than being heated because they lost. It was almost like he was heated because they're not doing what he asked. He had, to JR's earlier point, he's got no control over the team. They're out there doing what they want to do, and Steve was a great player, and like most great players, he values the effort to win. And I think it looked like he was disappointed that they were, one, either okay with losing, or two, they didn't work. JR, they didn't work the game plan the way that he wanted him to work it, right?
They just, I feel they just quit on him. They just like, we're not feeling him, which is really sad.
It is. So last question I'll put to you guys is, if Udoka is the guy, does the suspension get waived? I mean, I'm still thinking, wait a second, it was a pretty serious infraction against you for whatever this sexual misconduct thing was with Boston. Does that just get swept under the rug and he starts next week? Or if they hire him, does he still have to wait until next season? I don't know how that works. Either of you
as well. I don't know. That's a good question, though.
I would say no, because it wasn't an NBA suspension. It was a Boston Celtics suspension. Yeah. He violated the organization's policy.
It looks like, again, I got a little more research to do, but I think it goes back to what Freddie was saying, that the punishment, the infraction, all that stuff was Boston led. If Boston releases him, so too does the, whatever that was. So he'll be okay to go to work. Okay. Last question I got for you guys, which is also going to be our question of the week. Does the firing of Steve Nash / hiring of whoever make Brooklyn better this year? Freddie, your thoughts?
I think it makes them better if the players go into, take on, and accept the challenge that the coach has for them. Kyrie, we know you're a superstar. KD, we know you're a superstar. We know this, but you have to follow, what the head coach, what he puts in play, and if he doesn't, and try to execute that game plan to the best of your ability. If you don't, then if it's a bad game plan or whatever the case may be, then he would be gone at the end of the season. But they have to realize, I think they came into this entire situation, just that entire comment Kyrie made when he was hired in the first place. To me, I didn't want to say it, but it just seemed like it was doomed for failure, destined for failure from the beginning, because of the way you guys were approaching it, the way they approached it.
I can get with that. JR, in your opinion, does the firing of Steve Nash and the hiring of whoever make Brooklyn better this year?
I think it will make them better, and there's no excuses for Kyrie. There's no excuses for KD. You understand? So if they don't make it work, it's not the coach, because now you don't have Steve Nash. So you got to go out and prove yourself. And Ben Simmons, if he steps up any kind of way, they will be better. If he steps up any kind of way. So
I think JR makes a great point that the Ben Simmons factor could have a lot to do with all of this. I think it really goes back to what Freddie said a few moments ago, though. The players have to respect the coach. I don't think they respected Steve. If Udoka gets hired, I do think they have a certain respect, but let's see how far that goes. My answer is I don't think they're a better team. I think that they have way too many what I'm going to call distractions, JR, that prohibit winning when it really, really, really counts. The type of distractions that you don't see on Milwaukee. So I don't think it's going to, but again, that's just one guy's opinion along with YouTube. We're going to ask our audience the same thing. Please hit us up at Twitter, /15 good minutes, or right here on youtube.com/15 good minutes. Does the firing of Steve Nash and the hiring of his replacement now make Brooklyn a better team this season? That's all we got time for this week. We're going to take a little extra time once we go off air to figure out what the hell is wrong with Freddie's laptop and see if we can't get his audio together. Hopefully all you guys are having a good week. We look forward to talking to all you guys next week. Take care.
Peace.